So, no, not the mask, the mask. So, a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service where we arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families?
Welcome back, my PBM family. Welcome back. Another episode of Old School Cops. You guys, y'all been with me for a long time. I'm normally riding with my partner Shane. We ride a two-man unit. This segment is so special. I appreciate the extra officers. I got Seth and I got Ryan. So we got a four-man unit tonight. So that's going to require a jump out squad. And all you guys know on the streets with the jump out squad, what they bring to the table. And this particular segment is really hot because one of my boys is running for governor, and I need y'all to go check him out. It's Ryan Tillman, Breaking Bridge. What is it, Ryan?
Breaking Barriers United. Yep.
Breaking Barriers United. Y'all got to go check him out. Check him out. Check out his page. I want y'all to look at and see exactly his platform, see what he stands for. He's running for governor, so this is a big move for him. And I appreciate him coming on and giving his assessment. You have nothing but years of law enforcement. He's got over 75 years of, it might be 100 years of law enforcement here. I thank my audience, right? I thank you guys for sharing, for liking, for subscribing, for sending the videos. I want to actually do something different this year. I want to actually invite you guys to come on the panel. I want y'all views. I want the community views. Because right now, you got a bunch of cop views here. We all was a part of the law enforcement culture, but we got our own individual views. It's a lot different from the average civilian. So I need you guys to come on. If you want to come on and ask questions, drill the panel, do what you do. Nobody's afraid to answer any questions. We give you the good, the bad, the ugly. We're not trying to take a blue wall side. It's about right and wrong for us. So when it comes down to it, like this particular video that we're going to start out, you see the head of Homeland Security. You got ICE people, you got ICE agents, officers having masks. His reasoning for them to have a mask, they can be doxxed, their information you put out. My take on it is real simple. Listen, this is a job of law enforcement. We enforcing laws. They enforcement immigration laws. If you can't take that, then that's not a part of the job that you want to take, because that comes with the job. I've worked undercover assignments. I went to undercover school. I worked in the guns and drugs unit. I never was worried about that because I knew it came along with the job. I think, me personally, we shouldn't have immigration agents running up to people with masks on. Me personally, I don't think so. I think law enforcement, when we out enforcing the laws, unless you're on an undercover assignment, you should be proud and understanding the job that you do and present it to the public. Like, this is who I am and this is the job I'm doing. I'm a public servant. I'm here to serve y'all. I'm not going to do it behind a mask. I'm not going to do it scared. And I don't like the fact that you got people jumping out of cars, putting masks on their face, running up and throwing handcuffs on. I have a problem with that. But that's just my own personal views. I'm going to normally it goes to Shane. I'm going to let Ryan take the next slot because he's our guest. He's running for governor. I think you guys really need to hear from him right about now. Go ahead, Ryan. Take it away.
No, Joe, thanks again as always for having me on, man. I really appreciate the work that you and Shane are doing and said, and just really just having these open dialogue conversations with the community, because I think that's how we all learn. And I think there's value in every single conversation that we're having, whether we agree or disagree. And that being said, I think this is one where I actually probably disagree a little bit with you. And here's the only reason I disagree. I think everything is about balance, and I completely agree, Joe. Like, the job that we have is very, very dangerous, especially, working in gang units, narcotic units. But the reason I think I slightly disagree with this one specifically is, the immigration stuff has been very sensationalized in many different ways, some rightfully so, some not rightfully so. So there's two sides of the equation. But because it's such a hot topic right now, it's such a triggering topic for many. I do believe that it's coming with certain threats that are happening right now, probably more often than not. And so, assuming if, and again, I don't know if anything has been confirmed or not, but assuming that what the director of the Homeland Security, whoever it was, or immigration was saying, if there is some credibility that officers have been being doxxed or threatened and so forth and so on, I believe that this incident it allows for something like an insignificant, or it allows for officers to do something that they wouldn't traditionally do, which was wear a mask, if it's from a safety standpoint. If it was found out that this is all smoke and they're lying and that this isn't true, then I think obviously that they would have to look at this and see, is there policy in place that permits or doesn't permit an officer to wear a mask during encounters like this. But if it is a safety issue, I have no problem with them doing it. And the only reason I say that too, the last thing I'll say, is that we were just talking about it earlier with some of these officers being ambushed. We had an officer out here in Southern California that was ambushed this past week and never saw it coming. And so any measures that we can take to keep the officers or even their families safe, I think we should do. But going back to another earlier point that you said, I think even if the officers have the mask on, one of the things that they always need to be doing is making sure that they're professional and not acting like goons. And I'm not saying that these officers were acting like goons because I haven't seen the video or the interactions with them doing so. But I think they need to make sure that even if they are enforcing immigration status, they should always do it professionally. And people aren't going to like what we have to do. I mean, that's just part of the job of law enforcement. There's a lot of things that we had to do or enforce that people weren't happy with. And so that, again, this is just my personal take. And I'm always open to hear other sides of the argument, like yours, Joe. I think there's some things that you said that are very credible, but I think safety is more important for me than appeasing some of the members of the community just because they may not like it. I mean, last thing I'll say, obviously officers are not the community when they're in an official capacity, but there's many members that we deal with in the community that wear masks, and I can't right away just yank the mask off their face. And so I try to look at things from two sides. We are held to a higher standard, and so I can't necessarily compare that. But at the same time, if this is revolving officer safety, I think for this specific scenario, I don't see a problem with it.
No, I definitely respect your disagreement on that. Actually, we met, for the audience, we met on a disagreement. He invited me on his podcast. No, not the podcast. He invited me on his IG, and we had a pretty much totally opposite viewpoints. And this is why I like Ryan, because not only that he took the disagreement, we continually be friends after that. We kind of built on a relationship that was respectful and that we was able to keep moving forward with the agreement. You got so many people that take things personally, and he didn't. And that's an amazing thing for me, right? So
Thanks.
As far as you with understanding officer safety, there gotta come a line that where we can't just hide. You know what I mean? Like, I was a part of a task force. We provided security details for judges when they got threatened. Yo, you gave me how many years? I'm going to get you. We sat in front of houses, the back fort. You didn't see the judge come into court with a mask on his face. Other officers who worked undercover. Oh, you played me. I didn't know you was an undercover cop. There's so much that go along with this profession. I just don't think hiding from those type of threats it helps. It gotta be a point to where if you are too scared for the job, maybe this is not the job for you. You don't know how many times I was told just on a narcotics level, locking people up. Oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get your family. That is a very common threat. It just would be crazy for me to now walk around with a mask because I got threatened.
I agree, and I just think that for me, I think what I would like to see is more like context to the situation. Meaning, were these threats going on, but were they wearing masks before the threats started happening, or did this come from a very specific incident? Because let's say one of the officers had legitimate credible threats towards a family member, wife, kids. And we're talking about a topic which is arguably probably one of the most popular triggering topics in our world right now. So again, this is not like it's not like it's just an anomaly of what's going on right now in our country, given the climate with immigration and how people feel about immigration. So if there was like some legitimate, credible things about family members, kids, whatever it may be, that's why I don't see a problem with it. But again, I would want to know, were they doing this before the threats? Were they doing it after? So I think that, but again, this is just based on what I saw in the video.
Right.
Well, let me say, if I could jump in for a second, Joe, to give a little context myself. I've been on job 20-something years. You had mentioned a term called the jump out boys. I was on the Red Dog unit for 11 years. My face was always seen. I was on television. I've had threats to my family. I've had threats to me personally. We apprehended individuals who were fugitives, who had warrants. We did a lot of stuff. And I feel that the nature of the job, we're going to get threatened. They're going to say things. I mean, I had threats in my life. I had guns pulled to my head. It's just, to me, it's the nature of the thing, but it didn't hold me back. I had to put a mask on. I knew that was the nature of the business I was in, especially on that specialized unit that was in. I kind of agree with Ron. The climate is kind of a touchy climate, but as law enforcement officers, we got to treat everybody with dignity and respect.
Correct. 100%.
You got to be able to talk to me. I got to be able to see you. You got to be able to see me. And if you make a threat in my life, hey, I leave it in God's hands. But this is the job that I chose to do. I chose to protect and serve. And to me, if I'm hiding or making it seem as if, I got to protect myself, you don't really have confidence and faith in what I'm doing. So that's just my point of view. I've been threatened things. People have said certain things to me and they made threats to my family. But I know that this is the job I chose. I chose to put myself on the line, and come what may, God got me. That's my point of view.
Yeah.
Well, I was initially okay with it, and I sat here and I thought for a while, and the major issue why I've reversed my decision is consistency. Like Joe and Shane said earlier, we signed up for this. We've all been in situations. I got a hit put out on me and my coworker for a bunch of arrests we made. We didn't get to run around and then throw masks on. So there's consistency, or there's a lack thereof. So when do we now start saying, well, because somebody's in fear for their life, or because someone makes a threat, now everybody's just throwing masks on? So unfortunately, it's gonna come with what we do. You're gonna have people that don't like us. You're gonna have people that are gonna make idle threats or whatever against us, our family, etc. So if we start doing this, where does it stop? So that's why I reversed what I was initially against you, Joe. Now I agree with you, because where do we stop? Where do we draw the line?
I guess the question I would have for you guys would be, what is the issue then with the mask, as far beyond, like, what is the major issue with the mask?
Public trust. They got to be able to see you and know you. Like when you're in the community, when you start out as a community cop, if I'm come out, walk the beat or what have you, and I got a mask on my face and I got a cop uniform, you can't really trust me. You don't know who you're talking to. I believe that if you're out there and being seen, although the topic may be polarizing, we're doing a job that we are assigned to do, and we have laws that govern us that we're able to carry out this type of work. I don't just personally, I don't think we should hide. We shouldn't hide at all. If this is a job that we believe in what we're doing and we want the public trust, let's show our face. People are always going to threaten us. People are always going to say things they're not supposed to say. People are always going to do things they're not supposed to do. But that doesn't deter us as professional individuals, as law enforcement or police officers. I just personally feel, Ryan and the rest of the team, that we shouldn't hide at all.
Well, I'll be the first to tell you that public trust and sentiment is a major thing, and how we represent and uphold ourselves. So I agree wholeheartedly. Like, there's no disagreements with that. And I've always said it, man, we are held to a higher standard. I guess the disagreement comes from going back to the climate. And then we also have to realize, like, we are, some of the people that are being deported right now have been some very, very dangerous people, no doubt about it. And when I'm talking about dangerous, we're talking about all the way up to Mexican mafia ties and things like that. And having a little bit of knowledge on how they operate and the things like that it does, and on top of that, when we're talking about separation of families and removing family members from the home, it does put us in a very, very unique position from a danger level than we would typically see any other time in our country. And again, I agree with you. I don't think we should run. I think we do need brave men and women. It's actually a frustration of mine when I see people that go the other way when chaos breaks out, when people aren't ready to respond to that active shooter. So I'm in complete agreement with the fact of we need people that can be tough, but I don't necessarily settle on the fact that just because, we signed up for this doesn't mean that we shouldn't operate in it. If we have the ability, and last thing I'll say is this: if I'm the chief of police and one of my officers dies, and we knew that there was a credible threat, and we knew that there was some issues with, some of the enforcement that was going on, and they died, and we had opportunity to prevent some of the identities of these people from being disclosed, I would feel terrible, of a terrible person. So if it comes down to the public perception versus the safety in a specific situation, I gotta choose the public safety over it, just because as much as public perception is important, and you guys know my brand that I built. Public perception is everything in law enforcement. If we're talking about a specific scenario, then I would make sure that I have to uphold the safety of the men and women that are serving our streets, just because I would feel terrible if something went south that I could have prevented. Like Gordon Graham says, predictable is preventable. And if you could predict something that's happening, you could prevent it.
So I'll say this real quick. Again, the consistency. Our names go on police reports. There's no way of hiding our identity. We arrest somebody, we still have to put our names on police reports. Those of us who've worked either narcotics or gangs, we are dealing with people that are tied to organizations linked to prison. So we are dealing with people who are connected. If you've worked any type of gang, especially in the state of California, right? So we don't get to wear masks and things when we're dealing with.
No, they do put them in hiding though. They will put officers, not hiding, but sometimes they'll put them in. They will put certain measures around them to keep them safe because of the danger level. So I see it all the time. I have a friend of mine actually. He had a green light put on him by multiple gangs because of the work that he was doing and because they knew who he was. So they had to pull him from the field. They had to put safeguards around his family because of that danger, because they knew who he was. So that's what I'm saying. So yes, to your point, that is true, but we've also seen it that when they do find out who certain people are, after the fact, they have to put all these protective measures in place to save them. So if they could simplify it right then and there by just throwing a mask on the face really quickly without having to go through all the stuff on the back end, why not?
Yeah, Ryan, I totally agree with what you say. There is measures. It's been measures in play for years. Me as an undercover officer, I've seen it. I've protected judges. I protected other officers. And you're right, there was steps taken. When I had some issues and they was like, they took me off the street. They put me inside. You had to kind of wait it out to see exactly. There's measures, but you don't keep a guy on the street to continue to do enforcement, then put masks on. I've seen a video where it was a illegal immigrant was coming out of a house. This van opened up. These guys had masks on their face, and they just jumped out with guns and start running straight towards the lady. We talking about illegal immigration. The mafia of New York City, right?
I agree. That's different. That's different.
On judges, cops, attorneys.
That's different.
Not one time was mask put on face and say, go back out to work. That's not.
That's different. So that paints a completely different picture for me.
You pull them off, right? And the thing is like, for me, I'm not even looking at a vest that might have Homeland Security. I'm seeing guys jump out of van. If I was there and they jumped out, it would have been so bad because I would have immediately start. I think it becomes a safety risk to the public when you.
I agree.
A vehicle with masks on your face. The general public is not expecting police to be jumping out of cars with masks on their face.
There's no disagreement with that. Zero.
I think that's a problem. If you got
that paints a different picture because I'm talking about a guy who's out there, going out there, still doing his job professionally, identifying himself, has clear identification, cars and things like that. I'm not talking about police jump out vans, masks, guns out, throwing them in a car. That's completely different, and I don't agree with that. But I'm talking about if just in context, because again, I didn't see a specific video related to this. All I heard was what he was saying, and the way I interpreted what he's saying is these guys are going out there, they have their mask covered on, but I'm making the assumption, and maybe my assumption is wrong, but I'm making the assumption that they are identifying themselves. They're in clear, their vehicles are identified, their uniforms are identified, their face is just covered. But if what you're describing is what's occurring, then yeah, my perception and take and opinion is vastly different.
Okay, because these guys don't have uniforms. They got the raid jackets, they got guns, and they got masks on their face, and they're responding extremely quick. And we're talking about, like, we got to kind of weigh out the threat level here. Like, most of
I agree. That paints a different picture for me, Joe. Like, in my mind, the way I interpret it is, and I think I saw a video where the guy had his uniform on. Did they show a part of the video where they just showed an officer?
No,
or they didn't.
They were speaking on it. Did you see
Okay.
a video? What?
No, I don't know if I don't know if I saw a video or not.
Okay, yeah.
But my interpretation was these guys are fully clothed, identified with the exception of their face. But if we're talking about jump out vans and things like that, yeah, there's a complete difference there. So I want to make sure I clarify that. Let me ask you guys that, assuming that, go ahead.
All unmarked cars, you just jumping out, you're going to grab somebody about immigration status. You got masks on your face. I need to know that these are the police. They had several 911 calls where people thought it was the cartel jumping out. Like, there's no police, there's no marked units.
Oh, I agree.
Like, that's crazy.
I agree with that.
Like, yeah.
I agree with that assessment. If that's what's going on, then there's no disagreement. But I'm talking about, I wanted to be clear. If we're talking about somebody that was identified clearly, vehicles, van, everything, and with the exception of the mask, I didn't see an issue with that. If it was a matter of picking safety over priorities, but if they're doing the jump out stuff, man, I mean, yeah, I'm in complete agreement with what you guys are saying.
Okay, all right. Said anything, Shane? Anything? I think we turned them around a little bit. That's
right, but I do want to see. I do want to see the videos, though.
Right? You got a candidate for governor who's saying, okay, so if the circumstances change, I can change my stance. I think that's a good thing. It's too long, too far that we've seen people get locked into saying things. I was wondering, like, if the circumstances change, you should be allowed to fucking change your view on the situation. People are afraid to say, no. Okay, that kind of changes the game a little bit. People in politics, and I like that you're starting out saying, I don't mind changing it if my information that I'm getting has changed. So, because you got people say, oh, you changed it, you're flip-flopping. No, the information, I got additional
information, correct.
And now I can kind of change my stance according to the new information. So right then,
I got to piggyback off you, Joe, and that's why
you're showing like you're going to be an awesome governor, brother.
That's the makers of a good governor. When you assess information and you get more light on information and you're willing to look at things in a different view of how you stood at one time, that says a lot. And we don't have too many governors like that. So yeah, I think we got a good candidate right here, y'all.
Well, I appreciate it. You guys know, man, I'm all about context. Context changes things. And I think, I'll be the first to tell you that I don't know everything. And if I acted like I did know everything, then you should run as far away from me as possible. But I think it's good for us to have these good dialogues and to talk. I think this is how you arrive at the solutions that would be best for everybody if we can have educated conversations and figure out what's the best way forward.
100% agrees with you. 100%. Sted, you got anything to add?
No, sir. I think you guys
wrapped that all up. Audience, listen. Y'all got to go check him out, man. Check my boy Ryan out. Breaking Barriers, man. He's running for governor. Check out his page. Check out his platform. I'm quite sure you need the funding. So if you guys like what you see, go ahead and send him a few dollars to show his support. Like, we definitely need change in politics these days. And if he's the change that you're looking for, support him. Send him $10. He'd love for everybody to send him $10. I'm quite sure that would do his campaign really well. So whatever you can do to support him, go ahead and do it. Hey, Ryan, you got an open invitation, brother. You can come back anytime and join the panel of old school cops. And told me what he told you earlier. You kind of squeaked in here, bro, because you haven't graduated the academy.
Hey, I saw a meme. I saw a meme that said we discovered the glitch in the system. That everybody that was born between the years of 1984 and 1987, we don't age. We found the glitch. And so I'm sorry that y'all were left out.
Oh, man.
Sorry y'all were left out, y'all. I love you guys.
Yeah, same here, brother. Good luck, man, and you're welcome to come back. Hey, audience, keep sending the videos, keep sharing, keep liking. Anytime you want to come join the panel, just let me know. I'll schedule you to come on, and you can challenge everybody on here. You can give us your views, tell us what you think, what you don't think, what you don't like. So we love you. Like, remember what I tell you, and I say this on every segment. The officer has the home court advantage on the side of the road. Please do not fight on that side of the road. Regardless of you being right, the officer being wrong, because most people think they're the right ones and the officer's the wrong ones. Take that argument to the courtroom, because you do not win on the side of the road. You will get hurt, and as we can see time and time again, you may even die. So, look, we're looking at, and we want everybody to get home safe, not just officers, everybody. So we can just take that L on the side of the road, take it to the courtroom. We'll all live longer and have a much safer environment. Please be safe, and I'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. Love you guys.